Hey, everybody. Welcome to a winter edition of AGT Time. Back again, Cody Patterson, and I've got someone new with me. Who is this I've got with me?
Yeah, thanks, Cody. My name is Jay Bock. I am an America's Got Talent fan. I heard you put out the call for a potential co-host, and I reached out and said, "Well, I'm interested. I like the show at least."
Yeah,
So
it's
here I
great.
am.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah, welcome, Jay. It's great to have you.
and it's great to be here.
Jay answered the call way back in season 13. Unfortunately, for those that listened, Cody had to step away. Cody Mims had to step away. Jay answered the call, but I wasn't able to continue on with season 13. And just had some time constraints, the new job that I was having, so put that to the side. But we're back. It's winter time. We've got AGT the Champions coming up in January. Can you believe it, Jay?
I am excited. I'm very excited. One of the things that I love about the show is the surprises, and I don't think we're going to see a lot of surprises. The acts that you think are going to be flops, but they turn out awesome, or vice versa. And so we're going to forego a lot of that, but we're going to see some really awesome talent, some acts that have polished up their acts since they were on the show. Some old favorites. There's a number of acts that I'm really excited to see, and also from the international side, some acts that I'm just not that familiar with that I am really looking forward to seeing what the world has to offer.
No, I'm with you as well, Jay. The one thing I'm going to miss in this is we're not going to see those embarrassing acts, the flops, the guys that just come in and make complete fools of themselves. We've got the cream of the crop coming back to perform for us.
Yeah, yeah. None of the joke acts.
Yeah, none of the
Uh,
hijinks
all,
type
all,
stuff.
None of the hijinks. Yep, yep. All real, honest to goodness talent.
So what we're thinking of doing, yeah, as Jay mentioned, this is America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, what France has got talent. I don't know, they're from all over the world. We got winners, we got finalists, we got it all. So what we're thinking of doing is we're going to go through AGT, kind of talk about who's performing. We're going to talk about Britain's Got Talent, and we'll talk about the rest of the internationals. But first, I kind of want to hear from Jay a little bit. I'd like to know, how long has he been watching? Some maybe a favorite act that he has. Anything like that.
Oh boy. All right. Well, going my history with the show, I started back on season 2 was the first season that I watched, and I loved it. I really should have watched season 1, but it was just a little bit off my radar. I tuned into season 2, and from then on, I hardly missed an episode. I'm sure I've missed a few. Um, I love a good talent show. I love a an entertaining show. I think is really important. Is that it has to be entertaining as well. And my own history with talent shows in college, they hosted an annual talent show at my small college, and I thought that it would be really fun if I built a one man band to perform for the college my junior year. So I spent a lot of time gathering drum parts and figuring out how to put it all together, and I built this thing, this one man band contraption that I wear on my back while I play guitar and harmonica, and I wrote a song to go along with it, and with a little bit of luck and a lot of practice, I was able to win that talent show, and I kind of fell in love with the idea of fun talent shows from there, and so this show, America's Got Talent, dovetailed nicely into my experiences with bringing joy to people and having fun, making music, making a spectacle, and doing something that's maybe a little bit out of the ordinary, but still finding some applause for it, I guess.
So you're kind of modern day Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins with your one man
uh,
band.
Something like that. It's a similar idea. And uh, when I played it, I could play all of one song that I had written that was like the simplest chords I could do with my left hand, so I didn't have to think about that. And when I played harmonica, it was never anything other than the notes that I had taught myself to play, so I didn't have to think about that. And by the end of the song, my body was exhausted from the marching in place, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's something that I loved the creative process of building it and playing it and making it happen.
That sounds fascinating. That's much more imaginative, innovative than anything I could have put together. Do you have
How
a like
about
a
you?
favorite?
What's
Yeah. Well, real quick, do you have like a favorite act throughout
Oh,
the
sure,
years that
yeah.
you've? Yeah.
Oh boy. Among winners, I feel like Darcy Lynn is as entertaining and as cute and as technically efficient Darcy Lynn Farmer, ventriloquist, as you could see. She's very, very impressive. As a comedian or, comedian slash magician, Piff the Magic Dragon always had me rolling. I love his style. For singers, man, going back to Cass Haley, was that his name? The big guy. I think he was a finalist. I don't believe he won back in season 3 or 2. Had kind of maybe a reggae feel to him.
Yeah, that's going way back. That's
That's way back, yeah. um, so there's a number of different acts. There have been some. I'm sure we're going to talk about him tonight, but Prince Poppycock is one that when I first was introduced to him, when he first graced our screens, I was not so sure about the guy, but the more I watched him, the more I kind of looked forward to seeing what outlandish thing he was going to do. Um, so there's a number of acts that I've really really enjoyed. I tend to enjoy more novel acts rather than singing acts or things that we've seen before.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you on that. I've mentioned several times on the podcast that I'm not big on the singing acts. I enjoy them, but I'm with you that I watch this show for the novelty. I don't watch um, American Idol or The Voice or The X Factor or any of those shows. I watch this show because I enjoy the danger acts and the specialty acts. Um, Darcy Lynn, that's a ventriloquist, but can also do singing. Just all these different types of talent that comes in, and it doesn't matter what it is. We'll watch it and we'll be entertained by it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very different from the other talent competitions, the singing competitions especially. I would
Right,
say in the
and they
same vein, I don't tend to care for the dancing acts either. Although I have been known to be impressed by them from time to time.
Yeah, I will say there are times that I am impressed by some of the dancing acts. The one we had this past season, Diavolo, I was real impressed by them.
Yeah,
Some
that
of the
was a
group
large
act,
group of younger and older. Uh,
right? Yeah, and they would bring in props and all kinds of different things.
and
But
a lot of
you're
flying. Yeah,
right, acrobatics, but the kind of just the normal dance groups uh, don't really do much for me. They all
yeah,
look the same to me. They it just doesn't do a whole lot. But when you get into your danger acts, that's where I really get, where someone can get shot at with a flaming arrow. Then that's where where I get excited.
yeah, yeah. So when did you start watching America's Got Talent, Cody?
So I think I started around season 3 ish. So maybe a little bit after you did. My dad was really into it. We'd watch it together. Uh, I didn't see season 1 until recently. I've been trying to go back and watch season 1. It's a real hard watch.
Ooh,
That first season, it's completely different than what we know of AGT today. Um, I'm trying to get through it, but it's real difficult to do. As I've said before, after season 7, when Olate Dogs won,
yeah.
I took a long break, took a 3 season break, for various other reasons. It wasn't just because Olate Dogs, but that's just kind of what I say. A dog. I love dogs. I have a dog. I've always had a dog my entire life. I like watching dog acts, but that season, with the Earth Harp, with Tom Cotter, I just felt that the Olate Dogs were fourth place at best, and when they
Ooh.
won, I just went into a real deep funk. So I just kind of went away from AGT for a while, but came back when I think when Simon came along. I came back because I was kind of
Okay.
interested to see how this was. And it just so happened when I came back, then I got involved in this podcast. So it all really kind of worked out well for me. I've been watching AGT a lot harder than I used to, paying more attention to it, and actually I'm enjoying it more than I used to. I felt season 6 and 7 was real deep talent. I think that was probably the best that I had seen.
Hmm.
I think I've now seen season 8, where who was it that won? I just saw it. But anyway, I saw season 8, so I've now seen that one. I haven't seen 9 or 10 yet, but we'll see some acts from 9 and 10 in
Yeah.
tonight. So I probably need to go back and watch those, kind of get an idea of what I'm looking forward to. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I have a problem as a podcast listener, as a in general life. I like to be a completionist. I like to see all of something, and I think when there's down seasons here and there, I will forgive the um, a bad season here and there for the good parts, and maybe I don't like um, the winner, but I still love the show. So
no, I will agree with that as well. I mean, those were good. Season 7 was such a great season, but just to and the finalist that we had, I think, was just really strong. Um, and then I think last season I didn't get to. I'll be honest. Being away from the podcast in season 13, I didn't finish season 13. It's still sitting on my DVR.
oh
I haven't watched. Yeah, I haven't watched like the semifinals or the finals. I need to go back and kind of watch those because I was real surprised with who the winner was, and I want to kind of see what happened there in the finals that he won the show. So.
yeah,
Uh, so I think we've kind of gotten enough into the background here. You ready to kind of dig into some acts? I bet our listeners are kind of ready to listen to
I
what we
bet
think
they
of
are.
what's
Yeah.
coming up. So what we're going to do tonight, was tonight for us. You may be listening to this on your morning drive, whatever. But what we're going to do for this show is we're just going to talk about AGT at this point, and then we'll be back next week, and we'll talk. We'll watch some Britain's Got Talent performances. Because now, to be honest, neither one of us are really familiar with anything but America's Got Talent. So we've got some watching to do to kind of figure out what we're going to see from champions of non-US. And then the following week we'll talk about some of the other countries. I'm saying in the list here: Ukraine, Australia, Holland, Russia. So they're coming from across the globe to come perform for America, and I kind of want to see what we're expecting.
Yeah, we're gonna have some champions. It's gonna be really exciting to see what the world brings.
Yeah. So from what I understand is that this has already been recorded. I've asked around. I haven't seen any definitive information, but several people have said that this has already been recorded, that it's already been determined. So that makes me a little disappointed that we're not going to get any live voting.
Yeah, no live performances, no America votes or even world votes to put acts through. Um, Before the recording here, I'd said it kind of reminds me of the Sing Off, the old a cappella group competition that
Yeah.
would come up before Christmas. They would uh, produce the whole thing and then show us who the winner was, which was fine, but a different style than the voting style, I guess.
Yeah, it's just kind of similar also to another famous reality show, Survivor. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so they record Survivor and then we watch it, or those that watch Survivor. I'm more of a Big Brother fan because I like to watch it
Oh,
as it really happens. That's one thing I also like about AGT is that they pre-record the auditions, but then we actually get to see things live. It's not predetermined. Predetermined is kind of a strong word. It's not pre-recorded and everything's already determined before we see it. I like that we get to vote on it. So I wish they'd kind of whittled it down some, kind of done in auditions, and
yeah.
then we maybe gotten the top 10 or top 20 acts that we could have voted on.
Well, I've got to tell you, I've yet to see an episode of Big Brother, but that completionist thing. I've seen every single episode of Survivor.
Okay, well, good.
Uh,
I'll just be honest. I've never. I think I've only seen like one or two episodes of Survivor.
oh
I
man.
know it's a big deal, but I'm more of a Big Brother guy. So,
Uh,
but anyway, we're not
Fair
here to
enough.
talk about Survivor or Big
No, we're
Brother.
not.
We're here to talk about some AGT.
Let's talk AGT.
So let's talk
Let's jump
AGT.
into it.
So yeah, so we're going to start off with some of the winners that we've got listed here. So we're going all the way back to 2006. We've got Bianca Ryan, we've got Kenichi, we've got Paul Zerden, Darcy Lynn, which you talked about a few minutes ago, and we got Shin Lim.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Bianca Ryan, that's the number one. I mean, she was the original, the OG AGT
Yeah.
winner.
She set the stage for all the future tween girls to come up and perform. Um, uh, she is like I said, she's the OG. She's done it. It'll be interesting to see her 12 years later. She's maybe doubled her age since then.
I think she has. I think she was 11 when she won, and yeah, 12 years later, so she's in her 20s. So her voice has changed, her image has changed. She's, I guess, got more experience now. She's probably been performing most of this time, so
Yeah,
it kind of be
it'll be hard
interesting to
to
see
even
what
guess
she.
what she brings. Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what she brings to the show. Did you
I'm
go back and
excited.
did you go back and watch any of Bianca's performances?
I did not. I have seen them, but I didn't review them before our podcast.
I went back and watched a couple of her performances because, like you said, we didn't watch season one, but I went back and watched a couple of YouTube videos and I was a little impressed. I mean, again, 11 years old, but I was still impressed.
Yeah, I tend to um, have reservations on any act that I would, qualify with saying they're pretty good for their age, whether that's because they're so young or because they're so old. I tend to knock them a few points subconsciously if I'm impressed because of their age. This is America's Got Talent. This is everybody in America showing off. And if you're the best 11-year-old, that's great, but maybe you're not the best.
No, I'll agree with you on that because we see all the time these kid acts that come in, and I think even the judges say that. Oh, you're great for being six. Well, I don't care if you're great for being six. Are you great for being 16 or 26?
Yeah,
Because you're competing against people that are four and five times your age.
yeah, you're competing against all of America, all of the world, really.
Oh, exactly, exactly. So she'll be a little older, a little more experienced. So we'll just kind of have to see what Bianca brings.
Yeah, excited to see her again.
So next we get Kenichi. So we haven't. It's been a couple years since we've seen him, and he was our. I guess he was the season 8 winner that I missed.
He was
Went back
very
and
good.
yeah, he has some skills. He's it's projection dance, but it's been 5 years.
Hmm.
Projections kind of come a long way in 5 years. Will he be able to improve on his 2013?
Well, I think a lot of acts since 2013 have sort of taken his mantle. His style of interacting with his projection. We've seen it in a number of different acts. He was the first one, possibly the best one to do it. He mixes it with some really cool dance moves, some stuff that just uh, is hard to do. I'm not sure that I've seen it done elsewhere, or at least not as good as he's done it.
No, I'll agree. When I was really impressed when I saw him, even 3 or 4 years later, after he'd already won this. There's other acts that have come along that have tried to duplicate what he did. Um, he kind of set the bar. He set the standard, and technology's now advanced 5 years. So be kind of good to see what he's got to offer at this point.
Yeah, good to see him.
Next, we've got Paul Zerden. I'm hoping I'm saying that right because this is another. I guess this was season 10 winner.
Yeah,
Vin, Vin,
the second of
Vin,
three ventriloquists to win the show.
yes. I love seeing ventriloquists. I love ventriloquists. It's hard for them. It's hard for them. I'll just say that it's hard for them to pull that off on TV. When you're on a stage, it's one thing because you're distanced from the crowd. They can't really see your face very well. But when you're on TV, boom, it's right there. Especially today in
Yeah,
high def, it just makes it much more difficult. And any ventriloquist that can pull it off, such as him, Darcy Lynn, and who was back in was it season two? Season two
Terry
winner,
Fader.
Terry Fader. That's right, the famous Terry Fader. I can't believe I forgot that. Uh, so it's going to be good to see him again. Well, I'll see him for the first time, unless I go back and watch some YouTube videos. What did you think of Paul when he was on the first time?
I think he's very good. One of the things that he does better than anybody is um, what's interrupting himself with his
Oh
puppet. So
wow!
he has a really great way of having multiple characters on the stage at a time and keeping a conversation going between everybody on stage. He's technically good, very funny, good material, and he brings it to that next level by having uh, multiple characters on the stage at a time and being able to bounce between them all.
Now that sounds really impressive. I need to go back and watch that because as much as I love a ventriloquist, to kind of see them do multiple characters, it almost sounds like it's unbelievable.
It really he is very very good. Yes.
Okay, so then we got Darcy Lynn, also a ventriloquist, and the third ventriloquist that we've had win AGT. So I guess maybe ventriloquism, other than singing, is probably one of the most likely to win. So it sounds like with Darcy Lynn winning as a ventriloquist, that other than singers, ventriloquism's most likely to get you to win this show.
Yeah, and she not only is a very good ventriloquist, she is a very good singer. Very bold, very talented, and like I mentioned earlier, technically, uh, she's among the best ventriloquists that I've ever seen.
And she's extremely funny.
Very funny and just cute as a button.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's still young. I mean, we just said a moment ago that, she's good for her age, but she's just a good ventriloquist and she is still young.
Yeah, she's the other side of that coin where not only is she great for her age, she's just great. She's just a great ventriloquist. Really excited to see her back on the TV.
Okay, and then lastly, we've got Shin Lim, who just won AGT back in September. I need to go back and watch his card acts, but I, I when I was watching him early on, I thought that he over dramatized everything at first. But as I watched him week to week, I got more and more impressed with his acts. I never thought that he could win this. I don't think we've ever seen a card act. No, we did. No, we've seen card magicians win. Um, but I didn't think that he had what it took to win this. So to see him actually win it surprised me a little.
I was similarly surprised. I think that he's very good. I think close up magic doesn't necessarily translate to TV very well, but the stuff he does is really impressive. I'm not a magician myself. I've got a sense of how some of the tricks work, but his stuff is really, really mind boggling.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love watching magicians. People like to explain how it works. I understand that I like to believe that there's really magic. I mean, I like the illusion. It makes it seem more mystical to me a little bit, just to kind of that they're so good they make it seem like they're actual Gandalfs in this world.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay to lose yourself in that. And he's very good. I don't know how he does many of the things he does.
I don't either, and I don't even think I would want to know. I mean, I'm the type of person I like to know how stuff works, but when it comes to magic, I just want to believe.
I'll allow it.
So those are our five AGT winners that we're going to see again. We've got 28 performances that were AGT finalists. Now we're not going to go through them all. We're going to kind of just maybe talk about a couple or a few that we really like or excited to see. Um, is there any in this list that you're excited to see?
Well, if we just kind of bop through them here in chronological order, I could probably offer at least a couple of words. The Texas Tenors, I think they were a trio. Uh, they were fine. They didn't bring anything that I don't think that other opera singers brought to the table. They're fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
I watched a little bit of their performance this evening before we recorded, and I remember them being better than they actually are.
okay.
So
Um,
it wouldn't surprise me if they were an early boot.
yeah, that,
It's kind of a
I
Texas
could
joke
see
there.
that. Jackie Ivanko, probably the most celebrated non-winner from America's Got Talent.
Yes.
Um, Another opera singer. No, I feel like she was one of those good for her age kind of singers. It'll be interesting to see what another 8 years brings to her, though.
Yeah, I still actually listen to her every now and then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and she still brings it. I mean, she's still performing. I read up a little bit on her not too long ago. She went and did some voice lessons from a very prominent opera teacher. So she's keeping up with her studies, and I have a feeling that we're gonna be really surprised what Jackie Ivanko has done in the last 8 years.
good. What are your thoughts on Prince Poppycock?
So I haven't been keeping up with Prince Poppycock lately, but at the time I enjoyed him. I thought he's an excellent singer, but he also brought the hijinks. He is kind of that epitome of what this show is about. You want the talent, but you also want the entertainment and the silliness.
Yeah,
Um, my wife didn't care for Prince Poppycock too much. Thought he was a little too flamboyant, but I kind of overlooked that. I was like, I enjoy the singing, I enjoy the entertainment. I don't know what he's doing these days, but if he does the same thing he did 8 years ago, I'll be happy.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings. He, like you said, he brings entertainment along with his talent.
Absolutely.
The next one here, I'm going to tackle the name. You give me your thoughts on Uzair Novrazov.
Sounds right to me. I watched a little of him again this evening before we recorded. I watched just one of his. I think it was his audition. It was pretty good. I haven't seen any more of him, but I liked what I saw.
I like a good danger act. I don't specifically remember him. I'll look forward to something other than the three opera singers that we've talked about already.
Yeah, if it's a danger act, it's already a plus in my book, or
Very good.
acrobatic act of some kind. So
Yep. Moving up to 2012, we've got two comedians that are coming back.
yeah, Tom Cotter and Taylor Williamson. So I love me a good comedian. Anytime you bring a comedian on stage, and we've got several of them down in here, I can't wait to see because Tom Cotter was another one of those I thought was a shoe in to win, and in my opinion, should have won. Taylor Williamson came in second, and that was also a pretty deep final. So um, I'm excited to see both of them.
Yeah, Taylor Williamson. He's got that sort of nerdy persona that he brings with him. I remember him standing out in my mind as one of my favorites. Tom Cotter was very good. In the world of comics, I appreciate new material. I appreciate clean material, stories, jokes that I can retell to my 8-year-old son. Um, the show that I can watch with my 8-year-old son. I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, and some of these, it is good, clean humor, but sometimes it can be just on the verge of edgy, but not over the top.
Yep. And
And I think
I have I'm not a prude. I can appreciate some edgy humor. Um,
yes,
but I'd say for America's Got Talent specifically, I appreciate something that's maybe a little more family friendly. And I think to win the show, you have to be more family friendly than your your more crass comedians out there.
no, there have been some crass comedians, and there's some that kind of know how to toe that line. And obviously, it is on NBC. They've got to be family friendly. Uh, they're not gonna cross that line. But if you just go a little bit too close to it, then it's going to kind of turn away some of your viewers. So the next group, Sons of Serendip. I'm not too familiar with this. I watched one of their performances. It was pretty good, but I'm not too familiar. Are you familiar with them?
They had like some classical instruments. Is that right?
Yeah, from what I saw, they had like a piano and a harp and a guy that sang. May even had a
Uh,
keyboard. So I think it's four guys.
yeah. They're the music that they produce is different than the eye test that you imagine when they walk out on stage. Um, a different kind of musical act. I really appreciate it. I appreciate real instruments being played. Um, so yeah, we'll see what they bring.
I agree with you on the real instruments. It always is bonus points for me when someone sings to a live instrument rather than a pre-recording.
Yes, I would
The
agree.
next, oh yeah. I mean, it just makes sense. It adds to their talent when they can play some sort of guitar or a piano, or they're in a band that plays live instruments. Even when it's one of these pop singers that typically sings to uh, a pre-recorded track and they bring out a piano or a small orchestra, that always adds bonus points for me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Bring on the real instruments. Bring on a real band. Um, I'm all for it. Yep.
Okay, then we jump to 2015 and we get some more comedians. We get Drew Lynch, Piff. So you probably know more about these than I do.
Yeah. Drew Lynch. I think he had a physical or speech impairment. Don't specifically remember. He was very, very good, very funny. One of those guys that kind of leans into his unique lot in life. Piff the Magic Dragon, I mentioned earlier, is one of my all-time favorite acts. Um, just a real silly delivery. But his magic isn't that bad either.
Well, good. I mean, when you get comedian and magic, I don't know how I missed this guy. Uh, I feel like I've missed some prime AGT by not watching these 3 seasons because it seems like there was some really good stuff that I just have missed out on.
Yeah, I think you did. You'll have to brush up on it.
Well, it has listed here also Ryan Stock and Amber Lynn in 2015, but I don't think that's right. Now, they're the ones that he got shot in the flaming arrow. Is that right? Or am I?
Let's see. Sideshow Duo could very well have been. Yes, he did get shot with the flaming arrow.
Okay, yeah, that was a pivotal moment in AGT where, uh, he kind of gets brushed with an arrow, and I think that all the judges just went crazy, especially Howie saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need medical attention?" And he's
Uh, yeah, I remember that night very well. He was playing the tough guy. He was brushing it off. It's not a big deal. It's part of the plan. Um, I wish that he would have maybe leaned into it and said, "Hey, sometimes things go wrong. It's a danger act, and we're dangerous, right?"
oh, that's right, and you don't want people to get hurt. Obviously, I mean you want everyone to be safe and be okay, but at the same time, it's a danger act. We not that we expect things to go wrong, but we understand that things can go wrong, and that's part
Yeah,
of the suspense of the show.
yeah. Uh, that did blow my mind when that happened. I remember that.
Yeah, and I think they got eliminated that week because of that.
Yes, they did.
Okay, the next is one of my favorite acts of all time. If you go on Reddit, this is like my little I don't know what you call it, the little flair on Reddit.
Okay.
The clairvoyance, one of my favorite acts of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I love these guys. It's another one of those. They're called mentalists, and pretty much what they do are mentalists, but it's also kind of magic. It's very mysterious. It's not just the mentalist thing that they do, but it's what they put into it. I mean, they put it all in. They don't veer from the act at all. So I can appreciate that. It's creepy, it's eerie, um, and I just love them.
All right. I can agree that they have bought into the characters. Uh, they present all the time the characters that they're playing. Um, Man, I have trouble getting over it's a trick, you know.
No, it
Uh,
is it is a trick. I know, I understand that. Yeah,
and it's kind of the same trick. It's the same note over and over. Um, but you know what? I can appreciate they're very good at it, and they own it. So I'll I won't say you're wrong, but it's a different flavor than what I love the most, I guess.
no, that's understandable. I mean, I'm with you on the comedian and the danger act stuff, but for some reason, it's just something about this duo that just fascinates me. I follow them on Facebook and on Twitter, and I'm waiting for them to come to my area because I want to go see them so badly.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I hope they come and you get to live that dream, man.
Thanks. You'll go ahead
Next,
and talk about go ahead and talk about some of the next ones here.
we've got Brian Justin Crumb. He's a singer. Uh, Fine, another singer.
Yeah.
Deadly Games. The night. Oh, did you have thoughts on Brian Justin Crumb?
No, I have no. It's just a singer. Go ahead.
All right. Uh, Deadly Games. Danger knife throwing acts. We love the good danger acts. They do it as well as anybody. Um,
Oh, they're some of the best. Yes, absolutely.
Moving on, we've got John Dornbus. He is, I think, one of my favorite magician acts, not necessarily for his magic, but for his style. He's very engaging. He's very warm. It's not the kind of act that you would expect to see from this big football player that comes out on stage.
No, I loved John Dornbos when he was on, and not just because he was in the NFL. I didn't even know he actually played for the Eagles when he was on the show. When he said that, I was like, oh, I had to go look all that up. But
Yeah.
that's amazing. 'Cause you're right. This big dude, long snapper that can do close up magic, and I was fascinated every week when he did his performance. But then for some reason, I think it was his finals, he just completely blew it. I think it was bigger than normal. There was a lot involved. He had to call lots of audibles. Another football pun there. For some reason, he just kind of, I can't believe I'm doing this. Dropped the ball there in the finals. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. So I was real disappointed in the finals because I expected so much out of John Dornbos, and I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, he's very good. He'll be a great. I'm sure he is a great motivational speaker, doing his thing. He, like I said, he's very engaging. Great guy. Really excited to see him back on the screens. Do you have thoughts on Sophie Dossie?
I like Sophie Dossie. I like contortionist and hand balancing. She's the one that shoots the arrow with her feet, her bow and arrow with her feet, right?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, I like her. Any of the contortionists and hand balancing, I like. That's just impressive.
Yeah, I think she's great. She takes contortionist, like you said, to the next level with the shooting flaming arrows with her feet. Because, if you're going to ramp it up, bring it all the way up, I guess.
Yep.
Victor, that's listed here as Victor Lee. I think it's Victor Key, right?
I think it is. I think it is. I think it is Victor Key. Yeah, the juggler.
Uh, you know, this is how I feel about jugglers and a lot of these kind of niche acts. You might be the best juggler in the world, but you still have to be more entertaining than the best singer or magician or knife thrower or mentalist in the world. Um, and I really feel like Victor Key is very, very good at juggler. I think he's very, very entertaining. Really glad to see him back on the screen. Um, I'd rather see him than a yo-yo artist, I guess.
Yeah, who was the yo-yo artist that we saw in 13 or the not really
Oh,
yo-yo, the
Diablo.
yeah, the
Oh, who
Diablo.
did
Yeah.
that? He went further than I expected he would. I remember that much.
Yes. So I think I would rather see that than Victor Key.
All right. Um, yeah. I'm excited to see Victor Key again. I remember his outfits, his style, kind of being in the vein of Prince Poppycock. Um, a little flamboyant, a little hard, a lot of makeup, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I actually had to look him up. I forgot what he looked
All
like.
right.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really do a whole lot for me.
All right. How about Tape Face?
I love Tapeface. I loved it when he did Unchained Melody. I think that was one of my favorite things of that season.
Yeah.
When he did the Unchained Melody with Heidi, I think it was.
Yeah.
Um, the stuff later in the season as he moved along, I think he kind of went downhill, but then he brought it back. The early stuff was excellent, and the late stuff was excellent. Um, he kind of had a dip there, but I'm excited to see Tapeface again.
Yeah. His very first act, he did that Endless Love with the oven mitts. Um,
Yes.
and that was just the most basic props that a guy could have. It was all about his facial reactions and everything from his nose down is covered up. He was so good. Um, I thought that he had a shoe in to be a winner. I love Tapeface. Really, really excited to see him back on the TV again.
And he's another one of those that kind of stays in character as well.
Yeah. Yep. Um, Rounding out 2016 season, we have Sal Valentinetti, our crooner.
Yeah, I love Sal. I don't know if I'm excited to see him back, but I loved Sal when he was on.
Yeah, he was fine. We had a crooner. What was his name? Who won? Landau Eugene Murphy Jr.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I guess I'd rather see Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. on my screen, but Sal, he'll be fine. I don't expect him to win.
I think Sal has better stage presence than Lando. Land I can't even get his name right. Than the other guy. I think Sal has better stage presence. He plays to the crowd. Like when he came out, he and Heidi just hit it off.
All right.
Each time he would come out, it's like they would just have this thing that they do back and forth. I think he's kind of your typical Vegas type of singer. He plays to the crowd. He owns the stage, um, and he's big on social media. He sticks to it. He's still going strong. I just don't know if I'm excited to see him back now.
All right.
So going in the next year, we got Colin Cloud, who I kind of enjoyed Colin Cloud early. I
Another
don't think
mentalist for you.
another mentalist. I don't think he's as good as the clairvoyance. I think I mentioned that before. I like Colin Cloud. I don't think he's as good as the clairvoyance.
I may be more impressed by him doing it alone on stage rather than with a partner.
Okay.
Um, Another guy that kind of stays in character. Yeah, we'll see what he brings. It'd be good to see him next to the clairvoyance.
Oh yeah, that will be fast. I mean, if they're kind of if this is a tournament style thing, yeah, it'd be great to see them go up against each other.
Billy and Emily England. What are your thoughts on our roller skating siblings?
It's really weird, and I've always thought this is really weird. I mean, they're great roller skaters, but they still just go round in a circle, and the way that it it's just weird. I don't know. I don't know if I want to see it again.
Um, it's a dangerous act. I do feel
Yes,
like it's kind of a one note act.
it is. Yeah.
They they spin and they do it as well as anybody, but it's kind of a one trick pony.
I agree with you on that, and it's the positions that they put themselves in. They're still siblings. It's still weird.
I'll get over that in the name of art. Um,
Fair enough.
they're comfortable. It's good.
Okay,
How
fair enough.
about Angelica Hale? Do you remember her?
Uh, I do, and another singer, and I don't think I was really that impressed with her then. Now she went up against. Uh, she lost to Darcy Lynn, right?
She was a. She's young. She was 9 at audition.
Yes,
Um,
but
uh,
she lost to
she
Darcy
falls
Lynn,
into
right?
the good for her age. Yeah, she would have lost to Darcy Lynn. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, she was good. It was just another singer that sang pop songs, so it didn't do anything for me.
yeah. I don't have a lot of thoughts for her. How about Keshi?
Kind of the same thing with Ketchy. Ketchy was a good singer. It was fine for that season. She's the one that was in the plane crash,
Yeah,
right? Only one, like one of two that survived the plane crash. So
right, right.
she's got the incredible story. She can sing, but just it's another singer.
Yeah, another singer. Um, Not to discount any of the awful lot that she's been handed in life. Um, it's America's Got Talent, not America's Got a story. Um,
But you do
But
know that is part of it these days. The story is all.
oh boy,
Yep, yep.
it really is. So we'll see what they how she does when she's back on stage. I have no problem with her being back. Another comedian next, Preacher Lawson. You have thoughts on Preacher?
I loved Preacher. He's funny. He's. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of, but I loved Preacher at the time, and it's a comedian. I can't wait to see him again. As long as
Yeah,
as long as these comedians are kind of changing up their acts, because comedians kind of stick with a set for a while. So as long
yeah.
as these comedians are kind of refreshing their set, then I'll watch comedians all day.
All right. He's not my favorite style of comedian. He's very, very high energy. Um, I feel like he relies more on his style than necessarily on his material. But I have no problem with him being back. I think he earned a lot of love in his season.
Yeah, agree.
Next, there's Light Balance, another LED dance group.
Yeah, so I liked Light Balance, but I liked Light Balance better when it was Illuminate when they started it, and I actually got to see Illuminate live earlier this year,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and uh, uh, those performances live much better than on TV.
Yeah, it's something that really doesn't translate well to the television. I'd agree. We've seen a
No,
lot of acts over the years that are like Light Balance, like you mentioned, I Illuminate, and the other ones that they do fun things with glow in the dark or with LEDs or whatever in the dark. Um, it's hard to bring something new to the screen with that style. But yeah, I would love to see him live. I would. I'm a little jealous.
it was a fantastic performance, and we got to see him nearby here at Dollywood when my wife and I saw that they were going to be there this past summer. We're like, we're getting tickets, we're going to go, and we're going to enjoy this. And we had pretty good seats there in the theater, kind of like right in the middle, where right at the eyesight. It's probably way more information than people care about, but anyway. Uh, uh, so Illuminate kind of set the tone for these LED dance groups. The technology is fantastic. Being an IT guy, programming these things to the choreography, it goes into the talent as well. Not just the dancers, but the person that can program the lights to do all that stuff with the music is also a talent. And I think all of
Indeed.
that put together is incredible.
All right. Well, I'll be excited to see them on the screen again. And then the last from this season is Sarah and Hero, our dog act. I know you are a dog lover.
I love my dogs. Sarah and Hero had a good story. They went further than I really expected them to go, but because of her, I think we just mentioned, it's not America's Got Talent, or it's not America's Got Story. It's America's Got Talent. But her story kind of moved her along. Um, they're another one of those. It's kind of a one-trick pony. It's them, Olate dogs. There was another dog act as well, I think that season, and it just all seems the same to me.
What I can say in balance to that is that while her season was going on, she was coming back every week with another act, with another act, with another act, and it was new tricks. It wasn't the same. It didn't feel like the same note like our roller skating twirlers. She really did bring something different to the stage with a dog act every time.
Yeah, I guess maybe I was remembering it incorrectly, but you are right. That she would kind of bring back new tricks. I think she even brought in another dog at one point. They'd have a
Yeah,
different theme. The other one I was trying to think of was Pompeo Family. That's the one that would
yeah,
kind of have the same act every week, just a different theme. But it was basically the same
right,
tricks
right,
every single week. Sarah and
right.
Hero did bring something new. You are right about that. I just remembered it incorrectly.
No, that's fine. Um, I can certainly believe that it's really hard for a dog act, especially a one dog act, to win the show. But with more years under their belt, more time to prepare, I'm excited to see what they bring.
Well, I'm curious that it's I don't think she has a kind of putting predictions out there. I don't think she has a chance, but I'm kind of curious to see.
Yeah, all right. Moving into our last three here, we've got two comedians and then Courtney Hadwin. We've got Vicky Barbalack, our stand-up comedian, and Samuel J. Comroe, both from this most recent season. Did you get to see much of them?
So I watched a lot of them. You're probably gonna have to help me out close to the end. I understand Vicky did get pretty far.
She did.
I liked Vicky. I liked Samuel J. Comroe as well. Um, I like that he integrated his disability into his act. Anytime you can kind of bring some of your own experience and your own reality into something, I think it adds more. It makes it more genuine, and makes it to me makes it funnier.
Yeah, he's very good. He's got a great delivery. He's got a great material. He leans into the lot that he's been given, and he owns it. Really excited to see what else he brings. With some more experience under his belt, maybe some more coaching or some more time to work on his material. It'll be fun to see. Vicky Barbalack is fine, not necessarily my style of comedian. Um, America seems to love her. I have no problem with her.
It seemed like she was trying to be kind of a redneck, trashy. I mean, not trashy talking, but just a redneck type of comedian. Which talked about her
Yeah.
trailer park living, and I think
Yep.
she was even. It seemed like she was trying to come up with a catchphrase at one point. Um,
Yeah. Trailer
so
nasty.
trailer nasty. That's right. That may be our hashtag for this. Trailer nasty. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, it seemed like she was trying to do that. I liked her early stuff. As I got further in the season, it just didn't seem to do much for me.
And maybe she
Especially
ran
since
out of material.
it's possible, and it may have felt like she was also trying to push that catchphrase. Anytime you try to push a catchphrase, it just diminishes the rest of your comedy.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
pushed it a little too far.
I think she did, but apparently people liked her. Did she get to the finals?
I believe she was. Yeah.
Okay, so apparently people liked her. I mean, if it's a good comedian, if your comedy's good, I'll watch it. So we'll see
Yeah.
what she does. We'll see if she kind of retools her set. Maybe someone talked to her and said, don't do the catchphrase. Um, and we'll see what she kind of does now that she's had 4 or 5 months to kind of figure stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure she's found some opportunities to hone her craft even further since America's Got Talent. So be good to see her back. And then last but not least on our list tonight, we've got Courtney Hadwin.
Yeah, this is not ringing a bell for me at all.
Oh.
I know it's just been. I may have to pull her up here. Oh yes, yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
The name didn't do much for me, but she was the one that with the rocker that pretty much headbanged and danced around the stage, right?
yeah. She has
Like a Janis Joplin type.
Janis Joplin style. She has her own style. Um, she, her offstage persona is very shy and um, a little awkward. But you put her on stage and she comes alive. She really blows the roof off the place. Um, I kind of feel like I'd like to see a little bit more range. It tends to be the same thing over and over. But man, what she does very, very well.
No, I agree, and now that I've reminded myself who she is, I liked her. I liked her. She, in her audition, she really surprised everybody. 'Cause like you said, she came out. She's very shy. She's very quiet. But then once the music started, it's like there's this thing that just switched on for her, and she just took ownership of that stage.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be fun to see her back. See her up against the rest of the very good talent out there.
Well, we went through the entire AGT listing, so that
Oh
should
man,
be
we
it.
did.
Yes, we did. We talked about every one of them. That's okay. Uh, so that's ever all of the America's Got Talent winners and finalists. So next week we're going to talk more about like Britain's Got Talent. We've got some homework to do to figure out who it is we're watching here. Um,
Yeah,
so anything else you want to talk about on any of these acts or what's coming up?
I feel like I've shared as many thoughts as I should, and probably a little bit more. So, uh,
Okay. Well,
uh,
it's I guess
if
we're
I
just going to
really put
wrap
some,
it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if I really put some thought into it, I bet I could think of a handful of acts that I really would love to see back that didn't make it if it was for one reason or another. But maybe I'll put that list together for a future podcast.
No, that sounds great. Now, next week we got Britain's Got Talent, which we don't have a real long list. So, if there's, if you want to come up with some acts that from America's Got Talent, or even if you find some from Britain's Got Talent that you think you might have wanted to see in this, if maybe wanted to replace a couple from this show with another one of your favorites, then we can definitely talk about that.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up then. If you all have any comments on any of this or, questions or want to reach out to us, there's several ways you can get to us. We have email, agtcast@gmail.com. We have our Twitter, agttime. We're also on Facebook at agtcast. I know we got all these different names. Sorry about that, but it's just kind of the way things have worked out. If you want to reach if you want to reach me individually, Jay, you got your own Twitter as well. If you want to reach either one of us individually, you can reach me at Cody L. Patterson on Twitter.
And
Jay,
my one man bander, or my my Twitter is one man bander. OneManbander.
there you go. So yeah, if you got questions or comments on any one of these, acts or anything you want us to mention, just hit us up and we'll talk about it down the road.
Yeah, we'd love
Anything
to
else?
engage more.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm out.
Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week with some Britain's Got Talent. Have a good night.